Hey guys, just live on both Facebook and YouTube, which it seems I am. I think for this one, I was struggling to make a decision, but I think I'm going to focus on the Facebook. For part two, I'm going to focus on the YouTube screen. But all being well, I'm live both on Facebook and YouTube. And as I mentioned recently, I like to record on multiple forms if I can. At the moment, I've only got a Facebook and YouTube profile and channel respectively. But I'm hoping maybe in the future to get TikTok. I should crack on with it, I guess. Maybe in January for a new month and a new year, I'll look at different video sharing platforms just in case, like, I don't know, one goes bust or one deletes my channel or one deletes my content or whatever it might be. At least I've got a copy somewhere of my videos, hopefully as many of them as possible, and hopefully they'll last for good. But anyway, today I'm trying not to be too indecisive, and I'm trying to, which is one of my weaknesses, which would make me struggle to run a business, but I'm trying to focus on dyslexia and business or entrepreneurship, enterprise, whatever you want to call them, whatever the difference is. In spite of my naiveties, I've read and heard a fair amount about dyslexia and business, dyslexia and entrepreneurship. So I hope you enjoy it, and I want to mainly focus on dyslexia and business and entrepreneurship. And I often say, like, money isn't everything, and I think it's important to be healthy and happy, enjoy your life if you can, that kind of thing. Most of my money I'd give away if I could, if I had money. But I think that it is something that you really need. It's a tool in this world. You need money in the world we live in, unless you live in the rainforest or something. So unfortunately, or whatever, you need money. But sorry if the screen's really dark, by the way. I put the lamp on, and I didn't realise how dark it was until I looked at the screen. I was like, blimey, that's quite dark. It's only 3 o'clock here. One of the things I was thinking of is I would love for it to snow every day in December. Obviously, December the 1st is already gone. We didn't get any snow, and we haven't seemed to have got any yet. I was going to say in my video yesterday, in point number 24, I was going to say I dreamed that we'd have snow every day in December. Although the problem is things do shut down, so the tea mornings I go to and all that kind of thing will probably be shut down. But anyway, these are pointers number 1 to 10 as per usual. I thought I'd do it in my list form as per usual. So here goes. It's a good job I put an alarm on my phone. I can crack on with it. But yeah, so number 1, I'd love to find out more about dyslexic entrepreneurs and see what research. I know there's been research done, so like I might mention it in point number 2 because of my patterns. But I was thinking I was going to say in the intro or whatever, but I'm drinking from this mug. Unfortunately, it seems to have faded. The lyrics, the lines, or the writing, which said Warwick Tai Chi, and due to my use of alliterations, I'm thinking Tai Chi Tuesdays. So I thought I'd have this. Sometimes I have it on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, or whatever, because of or either of those days because of my strange patterns. But yeah, I'd love to find out about and celebrate and acknowledge and be inspired by and help other dyslexics to be inspired by dyslexic entrepreneurs, including those with 6-figure salaries or even up to millionaires or whatever, dyslexic millionaires and that kind of thing. Which I normally like to focus on Mondays, like this, Millionaire Mondays, my strange patterns. But also, there's many dyslexics running businesses as well as non-dyslexics, of course. But dyslexics and disabled people and others, maybe even dyscalculics, which could inspire others to say, even if you're not good at maths, and I'll be talking about dyscalculia, even if you're not good at maths, maybe you can run a business, maybe something like that. Found ways, whether that's using software or technology to help, or even other people to help, or a combination of those things, or whatever, combination of two, or even, well, software as part of technology. So both those things. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. But I wanted to say about this mug that I've got, other myself being a mug perhaps, and it's supposed to say, this time next year we'll be millionaires, from a British sitcom called Only Fools and Horses. It's no longer running, but maybe they should pay me commission for people checking them out around the world. Maybe not that many viewers, to be fair, but it's faded, unfortunately. But it had a picture of Del Boy, a character called Del Boy. Maybe I've used it so much today, so it faded for whatever reason. I'd love to have had a picture. Maybe it should be in my old videos, so hopefully there'll be a picture of it or a recording of it somewhere. Or someone might have the same mug, but one of my sisters got it for me because she knows I have that cute, quirky, humour. And well, it's very popular in Britain, I guess. But it's probably the most popular British sitcom, and it's Only Fools and Horses, and the character used to say, "This time next year we'll be millionaires." So I wanted to show that. Although I normally like to use it on Millionaire Mondays, but either on Mondays and Tuesdays or Fridays, because it's got humour and it's a bit about business and making money. But moving on, point number 2, also dyslexic billionaires. I like to talk about my ideas. I forgot to say actually in point number 1 about networks I'd love to create, and maybe part of what I call Illionaires Network, which I'd love to trademark, protect, copyright, and that kind of thing, rights reserved, and that kind of thing, which is be quite ironic if I achieved with my inspired my naiveties, but I suppose you live and learn. But I wonder if by networking together we can help each other. So even those dyslexic businesses that run small, struggling businesses can grow and scale much quicker by supporting each other. And hopefully we can help each other, learn to help each other. But I'd love for people to learn about the statistics of dyslexic entrepreneurship. So I thought I'd wait for point number 2 to say this. Apparently about, I think it's 20% of self-made millionaires in this country. I'm not sure about the billionaires statistics, that'd be interesting. But 20% are in the UK, 20% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic, and in America it's 35%. And I think they say about 40% of entrepreneurs are dyslexic in Britain. I'm not sure how accurate that is, or if I got the numbers right, but it'd be interesting to see further research on that. I know the research has kind of been done, so it's secondary research, but somebody's already done the research and spent the money and time doing that. So I think that's a cool way to get that research. But I wonder what we could do networking together. I talked yesterday about mentors and things like that, and what we can teach and learn from each other, how we can teach and train each other, and find technology in each other that helps each other, whatever, in better English. Find the tech that can help each other and help each other as well, basically. So sharing information and knowledge and that kind of thing, accurate reading of the facts, stats, figures, knowledge, general info, and that kind of thing. I normally like to put that in a certain order for some reason, but that can help us to teach and train each other and learn from each other, basically, and that kind of thing. So I wonder what we could do if we work together. As I say, teamwork makes the dream work. So I'm sure we could achieve a lot more by working together. But as I say, I'd love to trademark protect the idea of Illionaires networks. So millionaires and so called billionaires of different backgrounds, in this case dyslexic. I mainly want to focus on dyslexics, but it'd be cool to find out more about disabled people in business who have overcome their disabilities, if you like, to achieve success in business, the field of business, enterprise, and entrepreneurship, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'd love to create also dyslexic millionaires networks and dyslexic billionaires networks, as well as wider networks for dyslexic people who are interested in business or in different areas as well, generally. Number 3, maybe in the future there could even be dyslexic trillionaires, although I'd love for us to be philanthropists and give as much of our money away as possible. But that would be dependent on the individual, what they're comfortable giving away and how much they want to keep, and what our goals are and that kind of thing, what their goals are. But also, I'd love for us to be free. And here, bring me to another of my mugs. I've got so many mugs, I should give some of them away because they take up so much space in the cupboard. These are just a few of my about 100 different mugs that people like, sometimes for birthdays and Christmas or whatever, people give mugs, but there's just not enough room in the cupboard for that many. Even though I drink a lot of tea, but to put them in the cupboard and stack them or whatever. But yeah, if anyone wants any mugs, please let me know. As much as I love these mugs, I think there's just too much to take up space, even though I'm a hoarder. Even I know there's only so much space and time. But yeah, if someone wants any mugs, please let me know. Maybe I should sell them on eBay or something. Or I won't mind giving them to charity or whatever. I say I'm not that materialistic myself, but I know you've got to pay the bills somehow. But if I was free, I wouldn't. So we don't talk more about tomorrow since the 3rd. I don't want to give too much away, but I wouldn't have a job or break the law or be on benefits or force anyone to give me money or whatever. So that limits my options. But I'd make one on YouTube or another industry I'm not going to talk about. But I would love for us to be free to monopolise, like dyslexics, to be free to monopolise, and even maybe alcoholics, dyspraxics, dysgraphics, and whatnot. But yeah, free to monopolise. I think that would be pretty cool if I'm really dreaming. But yeah, could you imagine in the future if they were dyslexic, trillionaires even? Yeah, I'd love to build those networks, and I'd love to find an easy way or even easy ways to make money. And I think AI, if we can build AI, I know I keep talking about this in many videos, but I think AI could be really good. It could be the best invention for humanity because it could set us free to do the things we want to do, and less of what we don't want to do, and more of what we do want to do. Like I don't like cleaning, tidying up, gardening, or anything that requires use of my hands. I'm not very good with my hands or whatever, unless it's typing or whatever. But also to free me up generally to do things I do like doing, to walk more, go to the gym, play football, or whatever it is, networking, coming up with ideas or whatever, helping with philanthropic projects. But yeah, if I had enough money in my account, I would never do a 9 to 5 unless it was like a short-term thing just to find out what it's like. But I'd certainly have the freedom to be able to quit at any time I like and not worry about money. Pretty cool, I suppose. People might say, don't we all? But talking about that, it reminds me actually, before I move on to point number 4, it reminds me of, actually I thought the easiest way to do it is to do it in this form, because I wanted to cover certain points or whatever. Otherwise I'll probably jump from point to point even more without doing it in this form, but it helps me to focus, basically. Lists are a godsend, I guess. But I would love for us to invest together. I wasn't going to cover this idea, but I just reminded myself. I'd love for us to be able to invest together as dyslexics, so, and even people with related conditions, shall we say, and maybe even disabled people as well, generally, people with physical and mental disabilities as well. Thankfully, I don't want to speak too soon, but I have mental and learning disabilities, but I don't have physical disabilities, thank God, because I think my life would be much more difficult in better English, but might be in better English, but it'd be more difficult. But anyway, sorry, I'll try and get to the point. But I'd love for us to be able to invest together in things, and for Schwab Corp, come to think of it, and Virgin Money, both founded by dyslexics, to invest our money on our behalf, so we would have enough money, so we would choose whether we want to work or not. So we wouldn't have to worry if we can't get jobs, or if we struggle to keep jobs. If we have a job, we wouldn't have to stay up all night wondering whether they're going to keep a job. I know many dyslexics probably, and people with related conditions, suffer from insomnia. I certainly do. But so we could sleep easier at night, at least a little bit, knowing we would be financially free to choose whether we want to work or not. So we'd have money coming in whether we work or not. Even if it's just minimum wage, at least we can live off it, I'm sure. Or enough to live on, basically. Maybe the living wage or whatever, but I'm sure I could live off the minimum wage, really, but I'd love to fundraise for different causes, which I'll talk about. Yeah, I'd love to encourage my fellow dyslexics to give away to charity, but that would be up to them. All these things I talk about, obviously I don't want them to be enforced, but I go through a scenario before I go into point number 4. I want to say, so obviously I might say in point number 4, point number 4, I don't want the video to be even longer, so I'll say in point number 4, so we wouldn't be forced, I was thinking like freedom, but we wouldn't be forced to, we'd be free from force, we wouldn't be forced to have a job. I'd love to get us out of crime though, but so I wouldn't want us to break the law, so I'd want us to be in a position where we wouldn't have to rely on a job or do anything illegal, like stealing or anything illegal generally. So we'd be able to do everything legally and invest legally, like I think have a trusted account where our money is invested on our behalf, like a Schwab account or whatever. But we'd know that we'd have enough money, hopefully, at least to live on without having to rely on a job or whatever. But so we won't have to worry if we can't get a job or keep a job, or if we no longer enjoyed our job and we want to quit, or if our boss treated us bad, we'd have what I call potential FU money. Again, I know I've talked about it in the past, but where if we wanted to quit, we could quiet quit, rage quit, and quiet quit, mostly. So we would be able to say that our boss treated us bad and I have enough money, so I'm not going to tell you I'm going to quit, so I'm going to leave you in the dark and let you have to find employees without knowing. But if your boss treats you well, you might say, I want to focus on my hobbies and patterns. I want to focus on my hobbies and passions and things that I'm interested in, rather than, so I want to quit work, but because you've treated me well, I'm going to give you notice. You'll continue to treat me well, and you'll have a week or two to know that I'm going to move on, or even a month or whatever. Or if you enjoy working, you can still carry on working if you have a job, or you can still apply for a job, but no, if you don't have it, you still have the money, so you could do jobs that you enjoy. Sounds pretty cool to me. But another thing is, I'd love for us to work together, like supporting each other's YouTube channels, TikTok, and that kind of thing. Some reason on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think of those. I know I mentioned again a lot, but sorry for being so repetitive, but I'm struggling to get the point. But I think of YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays, even though it's technically YT, but the tube bit reminds me of Tuesdays and Thursdays. So given my use of alliterations, but as the closest day out of the week, or it's close to 2 days a week, I can think of like YouTube, but TikTok obviously on Tuesdays and Thursdays especially as well. So we could support each other there and help each other, like as many of us as possible. I think subscribing to each other, liking each other's videos, watching each other's videos, sharing each other's videos, and that kind of thing. I think the scenario, like if there's approximately 8 billion, I made a video ages ago on my YouTube channel saying like, what if we had dyslexics to get 70 to even 700 million subscribers and that kind of thing. Subs obviously for short, because I mean that's I guess if you took it now, there's supposed to be 8 billion people in the world, not 800 billion, but 8 billion people in the world, and the amount that so if we took 10% are dyslexic, and that doesn't even include the other conditions like dysgraphia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia and whatnot, although we might struggle to count it. I may be dyscalculic myself. I was going to say they, but I might include myself in that, or potentially dyscalculic or whatever. But anyway, those who struggle with maths. But if we count all those conditions together, maybe we could get about 20% of the world population. Now, I know a lot of people would be undiagnosed, so they don't even know how they have the condition or conditions or whatever. And many would be, and many may not be interested in doing so. I know I mentioned one of my sisters often says like, "What if there's people who are really racist with dyslexia?" Unfortunately, which obviously there are. But even if you conservatize it and say, approximately 8 billion people in the world, if you took 10% of that, so that's 800 million, and divided that by 10 again, so you've got about 80 million, and even divided that and just say like it's 1% of all the total, about 8 million. I think that would do anyway. But I suppose thinking about I think what if we watched each other's videos for like an hour a day? But obviously there's not enough hours in the day to watch that many channels. But as many of us as possible subscribe to each other, even if we said like 800,000, really conservative, I still think that would be quite a good number if we subscribe to each other and support each other's channels and collaborated on projects like including Zoom chats where we record them onto YouTube and TikTok and discuss dyslexia and things like that. So and related conditions, I say, and so hopefully that would give us lots of views, and that could be a way where we could monetize it and earn enough, so we wouldn't have to worry about whether we get more jobs or not. But what do you think? I'd love to know as ever. Another thing before I move on to point number 5, I was going to say another mug. I've got, this is just a small amount of my mugs. This is like probably less than 10%. I've already showed you 4 mugs, but this is the 4th and final one in this video. But it says, "Been on the pop all night" is another example of British humour, and it's a play on words. That kid is drinking milk, I assume, I hope. Nothing else, not whiskey or anything like that. But obviously, being on the pop often means like people have been on the pee, shall we say, quite politely, for sure. I don't want to swear. So, being on the drink, the alcohol or whatever, all night. So that's what that means. So it's a play on words, and it's like a bit of a joke. But a lot of time, I'll either like to drink from this mug first thing in the morning, my first cup of tea, or last thing at night, like towards the end of the night, like 10 o'clock when I still have my tea, or midnight or whatever. I'm really bad at that. Or 11 o'clock or midnight or whatever. So yeah, it's like I've been on the pub all night. I've been drinking too much tea, which is very bad of me, I know. But moving on, number 5, I'd love to know from other dyslexics what their goals are. I'd love to encourage dyslexics and others with related conditions, to put it simply, as short as possible. I know I said I want to focus yesterday in my videos yesterday, for those who have seen it. For those who have seen them, I mentioned how I'd love to focus on the D's, if you like: dyslexia, dyspraxia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia, and even disability generally, perhaps as well, to an extent, and empowering such groups rather than neurodiversity generally, like autism, ADHD, and other related conditions. But I'll say for short related conditions, that can include them. But in November, due to my patterns, I think like neurodiversity in November, I thought recently, and I think I thought that in October, but anyway, or maybe September, anyway, or even August. Sorry, but yeah, I'd love to encourage my fellow. I almost forgot my point. I'd love to encourage my fellow dyslexics and whatnot, and people with related conditions, or people generally, to support like Italian football, Celtic, libertarianism. Obviously, the idea of that is freedom. So having free choices. I don't want to force anyone to do anything they don't want to do, and supporting people from former colonies, maybe and also tackling poverty, alleviating suffering, spreading peace, love, joy, hope, and happiness. So basically, spread the positives instead of negatives. So basically, let's say how dyslexics can make the world a better place. But basically, for those to support my goals and aims and objectives. But I'd love to return the favour and support theirs as well. So I'd love for us to support each other's goals, which could be difficult, I suppose, if I think about it. Like if someone's a really big England fan or German fan or whatever, I suppose it would be a hard sell, and they might say, well, my goals are to benefit English football or German football or Brazilian football or Argentinian or American or whatever. So we'll have to agree to disagree on some things, but if we can work together to a general consensus to help each other as much as possible to achieve our goals and dreams. Mine are a lot about philanthropy as well, as I say. Well, point number 5 on my courses. So hence I include in point number 5. But also I think of like goals and dreams and things like that, especially ambitions and things like that for point number 5. So goal setting and that kind of thing. How can dyslexics reach our target? I think where that means T for Tuesday. Number 6, as ever, I'd love to see how I could convince my fellow dyslexics, and again, people with related conditions, to support, as a Italian football like Roma, Torino, and other Italian teams. And I'd love for Italy to host events ASAP, if not this year, maybe next year in October and December. But I suppose life doesn't work like that. I know I have my sort of alliterations, and I like things to be just so. But so it could be whenever is best for dyslexic people on football or whatever. But I'd love for Italy to try and host events to invite dyslexics and people with related conditions from around the world to Italy, and with dyslexics specifically in October and December. Dyslexic Awareness Month, which is in October, and also so we could show what we could do for Italian football, and they would raise awareness so that dyslexics in Italy would be treated better, and also we could show what we can do. So in my project ideas, I'm going to talk more about that on Thursday, I think, so I'll probably move on. But yeah, I'd love for them to for Italian football, for Italy to host events, football-related events for dyslexics, and in October and December, and neurodivergent people more generally in November, and that kind of thing. And maybe mixed race people in August. But anyway, moving on, number 7, same sort of thing for Celtic. Again, I wonder if by networking together and building AI and apps, or utilizing AI and apps that might even already have been built by other people. Many of them will be probably built by dyslexics as well. We can sort of make life easier for each other. Many hands make light work, as they say. Many minds make light work, perhaps, by working together. Basically, teamwork makes the dream work and that kind of thing. So hopefully we can make life easier for each other. I'd love to find an easy way, or even easy ways, to run a business. I know Elon Musk and Jensen Huang, if I pronounce his name right, Jensen Huang, however you pronounce it, the CEO of NVIDIA was asked something, and he said, I would not have started this company if I knew how difficult and hard it would be, which made me a bit depressed. But yeah, someone who doesn't have a hard-working bone in my body. I was going to say, actually, in point number 6, I don't think I have the hard-working ethic to be an entrepreneur. I think one thing where I went wrong when I was interested in all these business ideas is like my cousin tried to help me take the action, get started, and I didn't quite get it, to be fair, to be honest. I'll hold on to that one. But yeah, now I'm into the philanthropy more. But I wonder if there is an easy way, or even are easy ways to run a business, like using AI, teamwork, apps, software, and things like that. Number 8, so yeah, I'd love to see what we could contribute to things like time for stuff, as I say, and how we can encourage each other. And I hope that dyslexic entrepreneurs who have gone before us and things that have been contributed to the world by dyslexics will inspire other dyslexics to be more positive about being dyslexic, for those who might lack self-esteem due to being dyslexic or whatever, to show the world and each other even what we can do. And I think there's lots of things I've learned about dyslexia, but there's also lots of things I've learned about intelligence from dyslexia. So I don't think you're either intelligent or not. I think some people are we're all good at different things. And even in school, there was like a leaflet or something that said there's 2 characters. One says I'm good at everything, and he's quite arrogant and smug. Another person says he's not good at anything, he or she. I think it was a he, but anyway. But really, everyone's probably good at something and not so good at something else. So I think delegating and networking together, we can achieve a lot of great stuff. And I mean, dyslexics have already achieved a lot, but I wonder in the future generations, 1, they can be more positive about being dyslexic, and 2, once again, it won't be as hard because people who've done it before us, and we can network and collaborate and learn from each other. Oh, I forgot to say also, in fact, I'm going to say some point number 9. I love to. I've been talking about like doing one-to-one interviews, possibly in studios or on Zoom or wherever possible, and also street interviews and Zoom chats in groups as well. So one-to-one and sometimes as groups to ask to talk to dyslexic entrepreneurs, for instance, or those who are interested in entrepreneurship about how they can be taught by others. Sorry. So I'd love to interview people like Jamie Oliver, both the sorry, not Jamie Oliver, Jamie Oliver, but also James Martin. There's the chef James Martin who's dyslexic, and there's an entrepreneur called James or Jamie Martin who's also dyslexic. And I'd love to interview people like that and other dyslexic entrepreneurs, as well as him, to talk about the projects they do. So if you're dyslexic, I should have said this in the beginning of the video, to be honest, but as well, if you're dyslexic and you're interested, please let me know. But yeah, you could have free advertising basically for your business or whatever. You could talk about the stuff you do, so more people could find out about it, whatever that might be. And number 10, I'd love to support young dyslexics to set up their own YouTube channels and TikTok accounts in a safe environment. I've mentioned quite a few times you have to be wary of child protection, safeguarding, and that kind of thing, keeping children safe and that kind of thing. And obviously, you don't want to be accused of stuff or people being suspicious or whatever. So it's protecting the adults and the younger people. But I love for young dyslexics to believe they can start their own businesses and things like maybe set up their own little tuck shops and lemonade stores and learn from older generations, but again in a safe environment, and set up their own YouTube channels and TikTok accounts and that kind of thing, be part of networks that can help them for their future. So I hope all possible people, especially with dyslexia and related conditions and that kind of thing, can benefit. And also, again, I'd love to support disabled people as well to empower them. And I'm out. Peace and love.